I am Angheliki Verykokaki. 3 of you know me already. I'm an orientation, mobility, and daily living skills instructor in the Pan-Hellenic Association of the Blind in Athens. Okay, and I work in this department for the last 30 years. Only 30. Okay. We had the honor of the past. Norit, welcome. Hi, thank you. In the past, we had the honor to have in Greece Norit also in Bruce Plus. So we're very happy to see you here too. Okay. Yeah. So if you have visited Athens, you know that it is a challenge to walk around, and I will show you why. So let me see how it works. No, yeah. Something. Okay. As I told you, orientation, mobility, and daily living skills in training was established in Greece in 1994 at the Pan-Hellenic Association of the Blind. Here are the 6 of us, the 6 Greeks. When we were in Denmark, we were trained in the Institute for the Blind and Partially Sighted in Copenhagen. And this is a photo of the 6 first instructors, together with our president at that time, Mr. Mariolas. And also, you can see the man, the second from the right, is Yannis Vardakastanis, who is the president of the European Forum of People with Disabilities. And all of us we had a degree in human and social studies. I have a degree in psychology, and this was a prerequisite in order to be able to attend this training program. This training took place in 1992-93, as I told you, at the Institute for the Blind and Partially Sighted in Copenhagen and in Athens. It was a collaboration of 3 countries, Denmark, Ireland, and Greece. Here are the people from the trainees of the 3 countries, 6 from Greece, 3 from Ireland, and 2 from Denmark. And it was very good opportunity to exchange experiences and knowledge. Of course, you know this man is Erik Ostergaard, our instructor. Can you see Erik Ostergaard? Erik. Sorry. So I am the one from the right. Before 30 years, I was like that. So we had we were trained in 2 specialties, and it was fantastic because we had nothing in Greece at that time. The first was orientation mobility by Mr. Erik Ostergaard, and daily living skills by Mrs. Inge Kuhl. She's not in this photo. I don't know if you know Inge. Do you know Inge? Inge Kuhl? No. Yeah. So the duration of our program was 1.5 years. To tell you before I continue that this photo is from another program we had in 2001, because the program, our program was so perfect. As I told you, the teaching methods, the organization, the contents were so good. We were so satisfied and happy that when we have another training program in Greece, we had a period of 1 week as a study visit, let's say, in Copenhagen, together with the new trainees. So in this group, you can see some of the new trainees in 2001, and Jota is with us today. And it was the special thing of our program was that the training was in Copenhagen, but the practice period was in Athens. And this was very good because we had the chance to adapt everything and to get at the same time to have the supervision of Mr. Erik Ostergaard and Mrs. Inge Kuhl, who helped us a lot for 1 year to overcome all the difficulties and strange things that we had in Athens at that time that we still have. So when we came back from Denmark, we realized soon that the Greek reality was not the same. Actually, it was quite different and very difficult. As I told you before, if you have visited Athens, you have probably the opportunity to see the specific characteristics of the environment, both physical and urban, and feel the challenge to walk with your long cane or your guide dog. This is a nice situation because it is a pedestrian street with our trainee. Oh, I made a mistake, I think, sorry. Okay, Here you can have some pictures of the environment in Greece. It's in Athens. It is totally different from Copenhagen, as you can see. We have some pavements, plenty of obstacles, trees, or crowded pavements, narrow pavements, with tactile paths, but with also the things from the shops. Okay. People in public and private sectors are usually unaware of how to treat and guide the blind person. It was much worse 30 years ago, and how to make a building accessible. This building is in the university, in the School of Philosophy, and it has many, many difficulties and dangers, as you can see. I think we don't have a visually impaired people here, so I must not, I don't need to describe, okay. This is a trainee of IOTA, is Christos, and he was a student in the school. We make very many contacts with the professors, but nothing has changed still. The building is still the same, as you can see. Accessibility and safety in most of the cases are unknown words in our country, unfortunately. I have to admit it. This is very common situations. Huh? And this is a ramp also for the disabled, imagine, on the right. In 1993, Athens was much more different city than now. We didn't have the metro at that time, not accessible for the handicapped, so we had to do things from the very beginning and adapt the training program to Greek reality. Moreover, as organizations of public and private sector were not informed on accessibility matters, we had to start cooperation with them in order to make things better for the visually impaired. So more specifically, what we did after Denmark. First of all, we had to adapt everything we had learned in Denmark to the reality of Greece. We had to modify some orientation mobility techniques and add new skills. For example, I remember our long talk with Eric was when we were taught the identity crossing, the technique of identity crossing. And we said to Eric that in Athens, the corners are not always, yeah, we have different kind of corners, so it's not easy to have the identity crossing. And he helped us during the practice period to adapt this. Or for example, as you can see later on in the photos, in Greece, in Athens and in other cities also, you have to walk in the street many times because there are no pavements, or the pavements are very narrow, or they are full of obstacles. So we need to invent a technique how to walk in the streets. Also, in 1993, we had to inform the visually impaired people who knew nothing about orientation mobility training, what it is, this training, and how this training can help them to be independent and to walk around safely and efficiently. The second thing we had to do is to start cooperation with organizations of the public and private sector, such as ministries and local authorities, private companies, etc., in order to offer know-how on accessibility matters and good practice on communication issues. I will give you later on some examples. As these ones, for example, we succeed to make a law about the tactile paths, and they establish some system tactile paths in different places of the city, in pedestrian streets and squares. You can see that these tactile paths have no color contrast. Sorry, some water. And you know what? Can you guess why they didn't accept in Greece, in Athens, to have color contrast in the center? Can you imagine? Archaeologists, because we have Acropolis and the monuments. They didn't want a colored line to attract the attention from Acropolis or for the monuments. So Acropolis is near. Now you can see the hill of Acropolis on the right. On the top of the hill is Acropolis. So if this tactile path was yellow, let's say, or red, people would look at the corridor and not the Acropolis. So they didn't let us to have color contrast. Ah, yeah. Imagine, God, you direct. Extreme, yes. Yeah, because this session is also online and you need a microphone in order that people from home can listen to your questions. So, oop, what am I doing here? Can you help me to put the first slide, please? I pressed, no, it's a bit, I don't know. The beginning. I don't know.
It's the same meaning, but they also have the first style.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. So, thank you. So we all have the same problem all around the world. And we think that Athens was the worst case. So here also you can see the tactile path on Syntagma Square is the main square of Athens. This is very useful for visually impaired people. Here is also outside and inside the metro, some examples. Also had this nice cooperation with the airport of Athens, the new airport of Athens, where apart from a tactile path, they put a system with some kind of boards, let's say, where you can see, you can read in Braille and in big characters and in color contrast, where you are, in which point, this is point number 1, then you press the button and you call assistant, somebody from the airport came to guide you all around to the check-in, the toilets, okay. This is a very nice system. Also, we worked on sound devices on traffic lights, and we don't have many in Athens. People think that we don't have sound devices. We do have, but we have it with control, because people, the Greek people, were very annoyed from the sound of the tactile, of the sound devices, and they told us in the beginning that they destroyed them. Iota, I think they destroyed them. Yeah. So they found a system, let's say, with a control, and when a blind person approaches the traffic light, press the button, and the sound begins to start. So unfortunately, we have this kind of problems in Greece. Another good thing that we have after many, many years of demand and pressure was the voice announcement on buses. What happens in Greece? After, let's say, 20 years of asking, please, we need voice announcement and things like that, we did have it. We have a system called telematics, which is a very good system. There is an application on your phone with all the information. There is voice announcement in the bus and also at the bus stop. So you can see when the bus arrives in the real time. But we have also a but here. Buses drivers in Greece have a very strong syndicate, yeah. Group, let's say, association. And they are also annoyed from the voice announcement all the time in the bus for 8 hours. So they stop it in the bus. They have found a way to stop it or to turn it lower it and things like that. And we have now a very big problem. And we still are in fight and ask and demand and all the joy and the happiness we had in the beginning now has started to falling down. Yeah. This is the system at the bus stop, okay? When you press the button, then it reads what it is announced in the screen. Of course, we try to continue the discussion on accessibility matters concerning public buildings such as university schools, metro stations, as I told you before, the airport. We try to have a continuous cooperation, train stations, museum and archaeological sites. This is my colleague Iota with her trainee at the Museum of Acropolis. This trainee was a guide in the museum. Now he's dead, unfortunately. And so Yoda taught him how to walk around and have some landmarks in the museum and in the area of Acropolis. Yoda has done a very good work with him, but he was very unlucky, unfortunately, and he died young. Exhibitions with Braille notes and things like that. And this is a natural attraction in Vraona. There is an archaeological place, and also there is a water field with many birds and nature and things like that. And all the information, you can have it in the beginning in Braille, and also in 3 dimensions examples, let's say. You have also the tactile map of the area. You can walk also following the wood. And this is from this picture. I love it very much. It's from the last meeting of the European Guide Dog Federation last September in Athens. They had a very nice visit in this area. Although we try to emphasize on safety regulations during public works, constructions and renovations, and of course, civil protection measures during, sorry. Civil protection measures during natural disasters and earthquakes, because we have a lot of earthquakes in Greece also, and floods. This is, let's say, the good way of protect around the works. This is the good way. You will see later on the bad way. The other thing that we had to do after Denmark was to contact the trained families that have members that lost their vision and that had feelings of fear, stress, anger, sadness, etc. We need to train the families and the friends of the visually impaired persons, give them information and training in basic techniques, in collaboration with some of our colleagues. We encourage them to have open communication between family members and contact other families and participate also in self-help groups. Maybe this for you, it's something very simple, but for us, when there was nothing before in Greece, 30 years ago, this was something very new for the families. So we had to inform them, and we continue to do it. And the last thing that we did was to try to inform the public. This is very, very important, and we work very much on this because we try to change the minds of people, wrong attitudes, outdated prejudices. There are a lot of in our country, inappropriate behaviors towards the blind people as embarrassment, ignorance, indiscretion, rudeness, unwillingness to provide proper service and information, etc. So we try we train the public, and we do it every time we were asked to do it, in good practices in service, with emphasis on respect, empathy, and willingness to communicate. We teach them basic sight guide techniques, and we give them practical instructions for simple interventions in the field. Always the first 2 words that we insist on are the universal design and the inclusion. You can have some examples here of training of students and teachers at schools and universities in sighted guide techniques. Professionals who work at the airport, the port, and other transport means. These photos are from a seminar at the airport of Athens, together with the Center of Guide Dogs. Ministries and municipalities also. We collaborate a lot with Greek guide dogs. We have a nice collaboration. At the army services, this is people who work in the army. They wanted to be trained in order to train afterwards their colleagues how to treat the visually impaired people. Volunteers also, we try to teach them good communication practices and sighted guide techniques also. Here also are some kind of volunteers in a cafe. As a result, I don't know what time it is, Eileen, can you tell me? We have still 10 minutes. Oh, great. Before you start. So, as a result, we could say that when a trying program is applied in a country where no systematic orientation mobility training exists before, it is important to, before the start of the training program, to visit the country to see and observe the environment very well so as to be prepared to adapt orientation mobility techniques, because sometimes environments are very different from one country to the other. To look for accessibility, if there are accessibility measures, so as to start preparing collaborations with organizations in advance before the start of the program. To get informed on attitudes, on stigma, etc., so as to be ready to organize information campaigns during the program, and to get to know families and offer knowledge on the attitude they should have towards their visually impaired members. The second thing is that during the planning of the program, we have to plan a long period. It is needed for a training practice in the country, so as to observe and evaluate the training of trainees together with their clients and see firsthand the challenges they are facing in their own country. During the program, we should plan and make actions to the direction of information of the public and cooperation with organizations in order to succeed to establish in time knowledge, accessibility, and the necessary measures for the safe and independent travel of the visually impaired. Of course, still after 30 years, we have many problems in the area of accessibility, and you can see we don't have someone with vision. Okay. You can see also here high obstacles and obstacles that interrupt the tactile path on the square. We still have this. This is the case that I told you before, when someone has to walk in the street when there is no pavement. Okay, in the third photo. The other ones are okay. Nice pavement, let's say. And this is, this is the most characteristic pictures of our country. I'm very ashamed to say it, but this works. You know where it is? Nurita and Bruce, you have visited the Pan-Hellenic Association of the Blind. It is there. It is outside of the Pan-Hellenic Association of the Blind. Do you know how many days we had to shout and cry and ask and demand? More than 2 weeks. More than 2 weeks. Nobody could help us. The mayor, the police, nobody. And I tried to find who was the responsible of the work, and I called him and I said, yes, I will send now someone to fix it. They sent nobody. And it remained like that until the end of the work, outside the Pan-Hellenic Association of the Blind. Exactly. So, Bruce, if you have to have your trainees in your countries, to have more practice, a lot of practice, bring them to Greece. If I remember Eric told us, if someone can walk in Greece, in Athens, then he can walk around all over the world safely. So, of course, we have some solutions apart from the great orientation mobility skills that somebody needs. We have the guide dogs now, which is a very good help for safer travel. And of course, we have all the technology now with the GPS and things like that help us. By the way, guide dogs in Greece were established in 2008. Yeah, recently, yes. Alan Brooks, yes, come. And then the training was done by Peter Lazaros. But Alan Brooks helped us a lot because he came to Athens, he saw the environment, as I told you before, and he invited me to UK for 3 weeks as a study visit for the guide dogs. He was very, very of great help for us. He's not here, is he, at the conference? No. Is he well? Okay. This is a very interesting question. The guide dogs in Greece are now, 5 minutes left, okay, are now, how many years? 15 years. We have 5 schools. Yeah, that's another question. We can talk about it at the coffee break, Bruce. Yeah, of course. So the conclusion is, and I'm finishing now, that after 30 years in the field, in the field of orientation in Greece, in Athens, we can say that visually impaired people receive all the ORM training they need, and they do go out despite obstacles and difficulties. And we don't have accidents often. This is very important. We don't have accidents. They just see the obstacles as another new challenge to overcome each time. And you can have some photos of our different trainees in different areas of the city out of Athens also. And we believe always that all together we can contribute to the sharing of knowledge, and each one can become part of the solution. Each one of us, with our attitude, behavior, and work, we participate and contribute to the change that we want to see in the world. And we try not to get disappointed despite our difficult city and country in general. And we keep on walking. That's all. You're welcome. Thank you very much for your attention.